Hey, good. How are you?
Yeah, you gotta start over. I'm sorry.
Ugh.
I'm so sorry. I unclicked everything except the mute button.
All right. Okay, once more. Good evening. My name is Sue Skeen, and I am the chairperson of the Berlin Historic District Commission. This meeting is being attended in person and by remote video or telephone conference. Zoom conference access information was provided for the commission members, the applicants, and other interested persons to participate, and noticed on the agenda posted in the town website. For all those attending, I would ask that you mute yourselves if you are able so that we do not get any background noise. And I have two very important reminders. First, every time you speak, you must state your name and title for the record. Second, we must be careful not to speak over one another so that everyone who is listening can hear what is being said and we have a clear record. For this reason, as necessary, when it comes time for the commission members to comment and ask questions about a particular agenda item before any action is taken, and then to vote on that agenda item, our planner, Maureen Giusti, will call the roll as needed. Okay, also, the regular meeting is being recorded and the recording will be posted on the town's website. Maureen will now take the roll.
And I'm just gonna make a correction as we transition to Carol Szymanski, our new CEO, taking over. I'm gonna have her do the role and
Okay, fine. So Carol,
take
would you
charge.
take the roll?
E. William Sink Jr., Andrew Lou Millard,
Here.
Amy Pressure,
Here.
Susan Skeen,
Here.
Lorraine Stubb,
Here.
Pamela Pethigal, Herbert Watson,
Here. Okay. All right, so we will begin this evening's meeting with the first certificate of appropriateness. It's HGC 2021-04, a request of Wendy, I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce your name, I know, Contagouris, for property at 901 Worthington Road for replacement on 3 windows on the side of the house. That would be the north side of the house, correct? Wendy, can you hear me?
Hi, yes, this is Wendy Contagouris. Yes, it's the north side of the house.
Okay, so Wendy, if you could please for us explain your home improvement.
I'm sorry, my home improvement.
Right, the windows. You know, I know.
Well,
Go ahead.
it's basically a repair of the windows that were existing there. I spent a lot of time and tried to go and find the exact same windows that were there and pretty much finally succeeded after years. I sent pictures of rotted sills. The bathroom window we weren't able to even use or function for the past 10 years. And it got to the point that the other 2 crank out windows that were on that side were not being able to be functionable for this past year. So they needed to be replaced because they couldn't even be opened.
So, Ms. Contabor, the reason, I mean, the majority of us all live in old homes, so we realize that the windows rot, need to be repaired or replaced from time to time. But in this instance, you and your husband have come before our commission previously, but in this instance, this is actually a post-COA request, because you did not come before us to request the replacement. It was actually that we noticed the replacement going on and asked you to put in a COA. Am I correct?
No, that is actually an incorrect statement. I have never come before the board before to do any updates to our house. In the past years, I have actually had my husband sign the house over to me, and this is the first project I've actually ever done before. I was
sorry.
not aware for a regular
Okay,
replacement.
Can we
that I would
interrupt you
need to
for
do that.
1 second? I'm sorry, you broke up quite a bit there, as you moved your head around while you were talking. If you could talk like directly into the microphone for a moment, it would help to re-explain that.
It might be because I had it sitting on the desk. So basically, I have not come before you before for any projects in the past. I'm not sure if my husband has. For me, I actually had him a few years ago sign the house over to me, and this is the first project I've done. So I did not realize for the repair of the same exact windows was going to be an issue. I thought it was going to be fine.
Ms. Contabor, perhaps you're correct, it was your husband, but you had requested a COA for, I think you were going to put in a pool at one point, this is several years ago, and one of the other commissioners, Lorraine Stubb, and I actually visited your home. And your husband was kind enough to show us into your home and took us on a tour of what he had been working on. And so, you know, I mean, I realized that sometimes my husband doesn't listen to me, but I have been to your home for a previous COA.
Mhm.
So,
I do not recall that. I may have been working at the time. I have never had to go through this process before.
well, like I say, Ms. Stubb she makes a very good point of every time a house changes hands and everything, people are provided with the guidelines for the historic district and what is required. So I'm sorry if you felt that you were not aware of those rules, but those are the rules as it stands. And it's not any interior work that really needs to be things, but it's any exterior work, repair, replacement, needs to have a COA before the work is completed or started. So, please take this as a notice that in the future, if you decide to do any other existing work like that, to, at least contact Carol here or Maureen in the department and,
Absolutely. I just was not aware that putting something that was existing and I knew we had to make sure it was the same exact thing. That's all that I knew. I didn't know I had to actually go and check in with you guys. I did not realize that.
Not to but we did ask for a cease and desist, and you did not comply either.
Well, I kind of couldn't at that point, and there was documentation that also had stated, I mean, I couldn't leave windows not in my house in the end of November and December, and there's something that says that it can be put in to make sure that it's all sealed and in a safe setup. That wording might not be exact, but similar to that. So that's all I was trying to do was complete that.
Susan,
Anyone else? Yes, Lorraine.
this is Lorraine. Can I just say something? Wendy, I think, this issue of like for like, it's like we see you doing something, but, we ask that maybe you have a conversation with us first to say what you're doing. And we could
Absolutely.
easily say, well, this appears to be like for like. We do that with roofs all the time.
Mhm.
So, it's just unfortunate we didn't hear from you or communicate. And I'm sorry if you misunderstood all this, but I know I've talked to Tim a lot about things on the house, and I think he was aware because, as Susan said, he was asking for a pool at one time. And we came over there and talked to him about it. So he's aware that, we exist and that it needs some review.
Absolutely. He did not, he was in the same boat that I was. He did not realize that windows needed to be, if we're doing, because I said to him, I said, it's got to be exactly the same. Because he had talked about wanting to change it. And I said, no, because I didn't want to have to go through the whole issue of everything. I said, as long as it's exactly the same from what I had remembered from looking at paperwork a long, long time ago when I bought the house, I said, we should, we're fine. It's just got to be exactly the same. I did not realize that I had to go back in and check in with you, even though it was the same windows that I was taking out.
Yeah.
You're saying that I'm sorry, this is Susan again, the windows that you replaced are not the same as the windows that you have installed now. The panes are different and stuff like that.
No, they're the same. They're the
But I mean,
same.
I have pictures here that you showed me of the
Yep.
windows that are deteriorated, and they have single panes. And the windows that you have up have 6 lights. So that they're,
No, they don't. There's just, it's a single window. I can take that wooden piece right out of it.
oh, well,
It's the
from not
same
being at
exact
your
window
home.
because the windows that were there before had that same exact wooden piece in it that I had taken out. And I actually told Tim that I wanted to make sure that I got windows that could have that in it because I didn't want anybody to be upset. Because when I had moved into the house years ago, I had taken them out because part of them had started breaking and falling apart and not staying in the window well. But the windows that were there originally had the same exact, it's a cheap piece of wood that just sits in the inside of the window. And you can just walk over and take it right off the window. It's the same exact window that was there before.
I understand now. Thank you for explaining.
Yep.
This is Lorraine Stubb again. Wendy, the piece that fits in to create the illusion of having divided lights there, is that flat or does it have some dimension to it?
It's not flat. It's not flat.
Okay.
It looks like it's a piece of it looks like it is 6 different window panes, like all of the other ones are actually in the front of the house.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't stay flat. It looks like it pops out maybe, I want to say maybe half an inch.
Okay, so it's not just a flat snap in, it does have some depth to it.
No.
But as far as putting, I don't know if we remember when it had these in it before, but it's really more appropriate to the house anyhow.
It is that, and
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to make sure that I had them, because I didn't want to put windows in that didn't have them and then have anybody make a complaint, even though I honestly, I didn't really care for them. And years ago, they were breaking and stuff. I didn't replace them on the front of the house and nobody had ever said anything, but I wanted to make sure I had them just in case.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And one last thing I wanted to ask for clarification from Maureen. Do replacement of windows, does that require a building permit?
So that's what Carol and I were just making a notation of. So, and I wanted to make that clarification. So if a building permit had been applied for, which as far as we understand, it is required a building permit to replace windows. And if a building permit had been applied for, they wouldn't have gotten that permit signed off by zoning unless the COA or administrative approval was possible for historic district.
That actually is not the information that I was told by one of the gentlemen that did come here and actually talk to me, knowing that I was the homeowner. He spoke to me and my husband and said that we just had to go down there and fill out one form in the office. And we were actually advised at that time that we did not need a permit to just repair the windows and put the same exact window in, that we only needed to go through the historical district. So this is actually new
Alright, so-
information from what we were told going through this process.
Again, we're not the building inspectors, so I don't want to speak for them as to when a building permit is required or not, but we understood it was required. And that's how we catch them. That's how we advise homeowners unless it's otherwise reported that work is being done. And our
Mhm.
building inspectors are very good about letting us know. When they see work being done that doesn't require a permit from them, they are very good about letting us
And I
know
think when
as
they
well.
said that you just needed to come down and fill out a form, it was a form to request for a building permit. And in that instance, they would have said you are in the historic district and therefore require a COA.
And going through this process, we were actually told we did not need a permit to go through that process. We were just told we had to go through the historical district and have that form or whatever checked off for the windows.
That's actually not true. The work was begun, no permits were applied for. Several people saw the work happening.
Mhm.
And you were unable to get a building permit without the certificate of appropriateness from the historic district. So that was your first step. So if you do get the COA today, now you can apply for the building permit because you'll have that piece of paper, but they're not allowed to issue a building permit without the COA in this district.
I completely agree with the whole COA and then you get the building permit. But when we went down there to fill out the form, we were told a permit was not needed and we only had to go through this whole process of the, what is it called? The,
COA?
I guess it's the COA. No, we just had to go through the process of the Historical District Commission. So maybe that is
That's-
the COA document. I still am not completely familiar with all of the document names.
All right, it's just a certificate of appropriateness, meaning that the historic
Mhm.
district has said that,
Yes.
it'll, the materials used or whatever. will be-
Correct.
Okay, so since we cannot answer for as Maureen said, for the building department, but we are here to do that. Herb or Andre, does anyone else have any other questions to Wendy? No. So I'm gonna ask for a motion to close the public part of the hearing so that we can vote on your certificate of appropriateness. Do I have a motion to close the public part of the hearing?
I motion that we close the public hearing.
And do I have a second? Herb seconds. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So, like I say, in this instance, the work is completed, everything is done. I think that, I guess there was a gap in information to the homeowners, but that I don't really see any problem with the choice of materials or the windows that were chosen. I think if they had presented them to us, I personally would have had no issues with approving it. I think it was just a matter of going out of sequence. Does anyone have any other comments?
No, I think that this is her, I think it's a little, you can't call this a repair. If you're just repairing the window, changing a window sill, or changing a mullion, then you don't need a building permit. Clearly, this is a window replacement, which you need a building permit for, and we have to get a COA. That's just a split in words, I suppose, but the difference between repair and replacement.
This is Susan again. I concur with you that, it is a replacement and not a repair. Does any other council members have a comment or any other statements?
Susan, this is Lorraine Stubb again. I'm fine with what they did. I just think we need to clarify for future with the building department, what requires a permit, so we don't have these misunderstandings.
All right, so that being that, do I have somebody make a suggestion for a certificate, for the approval of the windows?
I motion that we approve the windows.
And do I have a second? Herb seconds. All in favor? You want to call a roll for it?
Only if we hear contract. Actually, with Amy on phone, it probably is best if the roll gets called.
So
So,
Carol,
William Sink,
no, you just have to call who's here. So,
okay. Andrea Lou Miller,
Yes, fine.
Amy Prusher,
Abstain.
is that abstain?
she did say abstain. I didn't realize she was abstaining.
Susan Skeen,
Approve.
Lorraine Stubb,
Approve.
Herbert Watson,
Aye.
So it carries.
Okay.
4.
So, Ms. Contreras, your certificate of approval has been approved. You will be getting something in the mail in a couple of days, and you can take that to the building department to file your building permit. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening. All right, so moving along, the next thing on the agenda is HPC 2021-05, request of Michael Matthews for property at 858 Worthington Ridge for an overhead garage door on an existing barn building. Okay, so Mr. Matthews, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so, and you, I take it, are far away from us in a warm and sunny climate. So can you explain to us the situation?
Yes. So and actually, Jessica and Eric, nice to meet you guys. We've never actually met. I'm in the process of selling the house, and I recently listed it and discovered that this garage door had been put up on the barn door from the previous tenant who had just moved out. So I had contacted Lorraine and let her know, and I was hoping, that maybe you can't see it from the street. And she swung by and said, yes, indeed, you can see it from the street. I think I was like a day after you guys had already scheduled the November meeting, or it would have been like I needed a 2 weeks notice or something. So obviously it had to be pushed off until today's meeting, but Jessica and Eric have joined the meeting because we actually have a closing scheduled for a couple days from now. So they might be able to better speak for future plans, but I'd love for the garage door to be able to stay up for their sake and for security of the contents of what's in the barn. I apologize for not following procedure, but again, once I found out about the door, I did reach out to Lorraine, who's always been great and kind of helping me navigate through the historic district's rules and regulations in the past. So I'm here to, ask for forgiveness and hope that you guys will allow it to stay up so that I can close on the property and leave it over to the capable hands of Eric and Jessica.
Matthews, this is Susan. I have one question for you, which is, so having had to replace a garage door recently, I am impressed that your property manager didn't charge you for the replacement cost of that door.
There was actually, when the previous tenant moved out, he said, would I reimburse him for it? And that's when I kind of found out about the door. But no, there was no cost passed on to me. The tenant was storing his motorcycle in there and using the right side of the barn for his own stuff. So he put that up at his own expense.
Does anyone on the commission have any questions or concerns?
I'm just curious, what kind of a door was on there before?
Nothing. You're looking at it. This picture that you're seeing now, I've owned the house for almost 20 years. It was just always a wide open area there. And so, the main area of the barn was kind of wide open. And then there's a right side room that has a door and a left side room that has a door, but there was never a door there. I did find an old historical picture that I recently found to see what the old door looked like, but at least for over 20 years, there's been nothing there.
What did the old door look like?
The old door, it looked like like an old barn door.
Was
I
it
actually-
hinged or a slider?
I can't tell by the picture. I can maybe share I can send it to actually here, you know what? I can do this.
No, I'm just curious, that's all. It's not important.
I can show you on my phone and kind of see how well it'll show up, but I can't tell if it's a slider or a hinged door because it's a very old picture. Let me see if I can hold
But
it up.
if you can't tell, I'm sure I can't tell, so.
No,
that's
but you can,
fine.
Oh, I see. You know,
Oh.
it looks like the doors that used to be. No, they are hinged.
but if you notice too, that's back when, that's before there was a door on the other side, like you see.
Right.
That could be from the early 1900s, this picture. I don't know. Or whenever, color photos came around.
I was gonna say, I don't think they had color photography.
Yeah.
Susan, this is Lorraine. Like, I don't know if other people can see. I can't see what he's showing.
Can you email it to me, Michael? Can you email it to Juicy at the town?
Sure, let me email it to myself. But again, I don't know what year that was, but I just recently, came across that.
You have my email? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no.
I do. I'm gonna forward it to myself first and I'll send it to you.
New door, this is Andrea. Is the new door made out of wood? What is it made out of?
Steel.
Steel.
Has a brand name, it's Clopay.
All right, who am I emailing this to now?
MGIU.
Okay, you came up.
Oh, okay.
You could probably also
STG.
send it to Lorraine if you want L stub.
Lorraine, you got it, and I'll just say,
She should be seen. When I bring them up on the screen, they should be able to see it on their computer as well, but that's fine. It works.
yeah.
I'm not seeing it, but.
I didn't
um,
send it yet. I'll send it, and I don't want to. Sorry, I would have sent this in advance if I thought it was relevant. I
Well, I'm
literally-
just, this is Lorraine Stubbs speaking again. I'm just thinking in terms of, this is kind of an unusual situation because we have a letter from the new owners to be who say they intend on replacing this. So when that happens, it would be good to have some reference of what it was like before.
I don't, this is Susan again. I don't have a letter saying that the new homeowners, which is happy to meet you.
It was-
have any intention of replacing it.
It was in the package.
This one? Oh, it's that. Oh, I didn't, I just thought.
I believe Mary Jean just shared their email. Sorry, my realtor shared their email.
Oh, this was addressed to Mary Jean.
No, I see it now. Thank you.
So here's I just pulled up the picture he sent
Oh.
on the
okay.
screen.
Okay, that's helpful.
But yeah, you can tell that was also before there was a driveway or a door on the right side. So yeah,
Hmm,
when that picture was taken, there's no asphalt even, in that picture.
hmm, hmm.
And that could be the back of the book. No. That's the front. Yeah, that window's not there anymore either. So that was a long time ago.
This window?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm just curious, period wise, what would have looked good there? Because there's new garage doors that could look something similar to that. But, that's down the road with the new owners, but they did say they're going to be restoring the entire building after they buy it.
Well,
I'm gonna go back to the
And
application materials.
Again, I'm literally closing on the, transferring hands of this property in 2 days. So if there's anything about the future, that's why, Eric and Jessica are on the call. I wouldn't be able to speak to anything about the future other than me asking if it can stay.
Mm.
And if your decision is that it can definitely not stay, I'd ask for you to give them an appropriate amount of time, to leave it until they can have it replaced, with, supply chain shortages on everything in the world. I'm sure, a
Yeah.
historic style
Mm.
barn door is not available like tomorrow, so.
I was going to say, I believe that legally, the commission could see this, whether or not it's an appropriate door or not, that's up to you. But should you find that this is not the appropriate door that you would normally have given a COA to, and again, I have no, I don't know. And that's your decision. But I believe you could allow a period of time for which the violation would be replaced and they were to return with an application for what you might expect to see, to come into compliance or to get something else approved. Should that be what the commission determines? Like I said, I don't know if this door is appropriate or not.
I did submit for a permit when I found out, and the response was that the first step would be a certificate of appropriateness from the district. And, there's no permit without you guys.
Mm.
For the record, the building department is very supportive of us, and the people at the counter know they know.
does anyone else have any other comments or questions to Mr. Matthews or the new homeowners?
Susan, this is Lorraine. Am I muted or, oh, I'm okay. I would think, because he's under a bind and everything, that maybe we could, I'd be inclined to approve this as a temporary thing.
Right. This is Susan again. My question to the new homeowners, it is a difficult time at this time trying to get supplies and trying to get, qualified workmanship kind of thing. People, contractors is the word I was looking for at this time. What is your ballpark estimate? I mean, if you're doing the work and everything, what are you thinking of? I mean, are you, going to go gung ho into this, or, I mean, I want to give you, I would want to not make it so pressing, but yet I would think that it would be something that you might want to address because it's not a bad door. It's just not in whatchamacallit, with the exterior of the barn. So what are your thoughts?
Well, we did talk to a contractor, and the information we got from him was that an historic door could take up to August to receive. We have somebody that's available to do it, but it is that far out right now. So we would be looking, we'd be asking for like a 6 to 9 month extension, and we also are looking at doing the cupola in the back.
Yeah, I mean, we would really like to do according to historic code and with all, permits in place and permission from the historic commission. We would like to bring the entire building back to its original life and perhaps use it, as more than just storage. So right now I've been told by the listing agent that one of the tenants has belongings inside. So that's really the most important thing to me, is that the door remains so that the tenant's belongings are safe. And also so that the elements don't affect the inside so much. I actually haven't even been inside to look at how badly the elements have affected it over time. But yeah, anyhow, it's our overall goal to restore the entire building according to historic code and with all the permits in place. So
It's not
So,
really.
long story, is we do have, we do have a contractor and labor that's available, but we have been told that the material cost could take up to August to get.
the door.
I'm just curious, I mean, will you be residing at the home or is it going to be an investment property for you?
I can't hear. I'm sorry. I didn't hear that.
I'm sorry, my fault. I mean, it's not really pertinent to the thing, but just my curiosity, will you be residing at the residence or is this an investment property?
No, this is an investment property. We live. This is my makeshift real estate office. But yeah, this is an investment property for us. It's our first 3-family.
For her.
Yeah, it's for her. That's for her college. And
Oh,
we live in Burlington and we intend on like really loving on the property. We're very excited to buy a piece of history. So it's our intent to really make it look in keeping. And I know that we can get doors that look exactly like that with the hinges. We have doors on our own house in Burlington that was built in actually 99 that have those little like the fake hinges and everything. So we should be totally fine to get something that's in keeping with the old swingers that look like the swinging doors, but don't actually swing. So that should be totally fine.
I wanted to just point,
Excuse me one second, Maureen had a comment.
I want to just point out that Amy has added comments in the chat.
Oh, I can't see.
I did ask her if can use the mic for the record as well as for everyone's benefit, because the chat just really comes to me. But I did put it up. Her first comment, the picture is old. The white door is now in a ruinous state and needs repair. Then she commented the door on the right of the garage. Yes, I saw it too. I think that must have been some portion of the conversation you were having. And then she commented, I think we should only vote on appropriateness and how would it be used? And I'm not really understanding what that was.
Oh, I'm talking, hi, this is Amy Prescher. I'm talking about the intended use in the future when it's restored. I'm just curious about that. And also my comment was just, just because we have these issues of precedent and things like that, and it's difficult to predict the future, it just seems to me that we have from the new owners have the intent to change the garage door. That's great. And so I'm just concerned that we approve this and then, without really considering if it's appropriate or not, that sets a bad precedent. I think I would rather just say, I would prefer that to a temporary approval that we say, that if we don't approve it, that they still have a generous amount of time that they can change it somewhere down the line. But I would just not want to vote something as appropriate when that's not really, it doesn't really fulfill the criteria of what we would really consider to be appropriate. As I said, I don't know how the rest of the commission is going to vote, but I see that as a little bit of an issue.
Amy, do you have any other questions or concerns? Because what I'd like to do is just close the public part of the hearing and have our discussion.
This is Amy again. I did want to clarify about the future use.
What do you mean by future use?
They said that the Boswell said that it's now used for storage, but they no longer want to use it for storage. They want to use it. So I was just wondering what that usage is.
We actually don't know yet since we haven't been inside of it, but we know that the current garage door isn't in keeping with the look of the building. I haven't even been inside, so I don't know what we can use it for. If we can use it for storage, that's fine. If we can do something else with it, that would be something for future talks, I think.
Lorraine, do you have any other questions?
I tend to agree with Amy that we should probably have it on the record that we don't approve the door, but we give them,
Lorraine,
I don't know if we want to say a year.
Lorraine, I'm asking you if you have questions so that we can close the public part of the hearing and have this discussion.
Oh, okay. I'm fine. Do you want me to make a motion?
I would love that.
Okay, I move to close the public hearing.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Herb seconds. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so Lorraine, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I concur with you and Amy that the door is not appropriate to the building, but that I would allow, you know, like, it's December now, I would allow a year's time to make a replacement and come before us with a COA for an approval of an appropriate door. Does anybody have any other thoughts?
I agree. Sandra and I agree with that. And if there's any other changes that they wanted to make in the meantime, during when they start to replace the door, include that in the COA. We have a clear understanding what they're going to be changing.
And then I have a question to Carol. We had this situation previously where, you know, we have given people an extension and things have not worked out appropriately as far as it coming back up before the meeting so that we can address it. Is there a way to make sure that this gets queued up so that, you know, we can look back at it in future things so that we can see, you know, contact them if things aren't done?
We could certainly do our best to make sure it stays on the hopper and then, you know, we'll notate the calendars and absent,
Okay.
you know, this last 2 years has been a little crazy with, you know, the things we put on the calendar, did they pop back up again? We changed all the technology. So, but we will, I mean, we have it as something, it is something we can flag. And Carol now being our dedicated enforcement officer, is, yeah, it's really been a good move to sever that job back down to just zoning enforcement officer concentration.
So do I have, is there any other discussion that people want to make, Amy or Lorraine? Is there any other comments? you
Well,
wanna make?
I think just like how much time to allow.
Well, my tendency is to go with a year. But I'm willing to, you know, listen to other views. I mean, it's gonna take, they were suggesting it might take until August. I just figure a year is easy to mark on a calendar. And anybody else?
I think a year is fair. Nothing over that.
Okay. All right, so do I have a motion to approve? I don't know, how would you phrase that, Carol? I mean, it's not an approval.
So we always advise that motions be made in the affirmative. So it's a motion to approve, and then it would fail to carry if you all did not approve the certificate of appropriateness. If you didn't have enough members voting positively, it's denied because it didn't carry.
But then how do we
And-
give them that, you know, it's
The
fine?
condition.
The duration for replacement.
I think that can be direction to staff
Okay.
that
Because when we want them to be able to close out the sale of the home, we don't want anything left.
left is a
Yeah,
violation.
left as a
Okay,
violation.
so in that case, perhaps it would be best to do a negative motion, a motion to, oh,
If you deny this, they will not be able to get a building permit. And then that will be on their record. So if there's a violation with the building department right now, and they call from the closing, they will tell them
They can't close.
they
right.
can't close.
So I would say a motion to approve with the condition of
Changing out.
change, with a finite time period for a year.
So somebody needs to make a motion to approve the doors with a stipulation that it be replaced within a year.
That they return to the Historic District Commission for approval of, for an appropriate door within a year's time.
So does somebody else want to phrase that? better than me? Rain? I need someone from the commission to rephrase the temporary approval of the door with the stipulations that it be replaced within the year.
You just did it.
I just did it. Well, usually the chairman's not supposed to make the motion, so
I'll second it.
do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, and do I have approval? You want to call the roll, Carol?
Andrew Millard,
Aye.
Amy Pressure. Amy,
Yes,
was that a yes vote?
yes,
Okay. Sue Skeen,
Yes.
Lorraine Stubb,
Yes.
Herb Watson.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay, so the motion is carried. So you will be able to close on the sale of the home and you'll come back before the commission within a year's time with another door that would be more appropriate with the house and with the barn, and what you decide to do with it. Okay?
Susan, this is Lorraine, can I just add that, they said they were going to do other work on the barn.
Right.
So if they're moving windows around or other doors or changing doors, they'd have to come anyhow.
Yes, so that's true. Usually the Realtor has a packet of the Historic District Commission guidelines, and they should provide it. If they don't, there's one available here at the town hall that you can get, or they're available online as well.
Well, plus after I see the closing, I send a welcome packet with all that to the new homeowners.
So, good luck with everything. And I would recommend, just from my own personal experience, being a homeowner in the area, it's great when your first day there is to go around and take pictures of everything. Because it's not the interior of the home that the guidelines are, it's the exterior of the home and the barn and the other things like that. Okay?
Chairman, can I add one thing?
Absolutely, Maureen.
So you were talking about the use of the property as well, or the use of the barn. Just make sure you're in communication with the town hall, with the planning, zoning, as well as the building department, so that we can help you not make, you get the information about what is allowed, what isn't allowed, and follow the proper procedures.
Yeah,
Love to talk to you.
besides that, there are zoning restrictions for what's allowable in the
Right.
in the residential area.
It's all right. Yes, we completely understand. And we lived in a really strict historic district in St. Louis. So we're familiar with actually residing in historic districts. So you should be good with that. We're really looking forward to owning in Berlin.
Well, good luck.
Welcome.
All right, thank you. So now we'll proceed with the public part of the hearing again. And this is HGC 2021-06, a request by Danielle Dam for the property at 1097 Worthington Ridge for basically it's reapproval of the demolition permit for the rear stairs and attached garage and a new addition to the rear of the home. So Daniel, you have the floor. Thank you for being so patient this evening.
Oh, good. I didn't realize she was in the room. I'm looking for her on screen. Can you come up to the microphone and introduce yourself and speak into the microphone for the record? Thank you.
Danielle Dam, and I'm just applying for reapproval of the demolition of this sun porch and garage. I do have a drawing as well.
Was the application noticed that way? It was noticed for the addition as well?
It was not, there's nothing for an addition. We have no paperwork, no.
Okay, so we
I
didn't,
have a
we
drawing-
didn't.
I have a drawing now. If you look at
It
the
wasn't
application,
noticed.
It does say that on there.
We weren't given anything and we didn't notice it that way. We just received a photo of what to demo. There's nothing else. That was.
So that would have to reach returned for proper noticing. It has to be, if a legal ad has to be run for what they're there, and it's a legal ad that we have to do.
But is, I did say it, an addition on the application. I just didn't have a drawing at the time.
No one's really walked by. We didn't receive any paperwork.
We came out to your residence a couple of years ago, Lorraine and I.
This was right before COVID.
Right. But no, we came out and we talked about the demo and stuff. But at that time, you know, you guys decided what else they wanted to do with the building. And,
Oh, it is in there.
it's
Is
just-
it in?
You do mention it at the end, but there's nothing for us to have perused before.
Sure, we literally just did a drawing, so I didn't have anything at the time when I applied.
I feel terrible. When are you planning on doing the demo?
Well, as soon as possible, I just have to go, you know.
Because, I mean, it's only a couple of weeks. I mean, we could, it's only a couple of weeks till the January meeting. And we could table it and reconsider it with the drawings so that you can get one big approval. I mean, as far as extending the demo, I don't see that as an issue, but as far as approving the replacement, that's where the problem would be. Does anybody else have any other comments?
Yeah, I do. What is the problem about approving the demolition?
There's no problem with approving the demolition because we already went out there 2 years ago and approved the demolition. But at that time, she wasn't sure what she was going to be doing. So, and there's nothing in our things for what we're approving of as a new addition.
So you want plans for the new addition?
Correct. And then we would, you know, usually we come out and just kind of walk the site, just see where things are and stuff, you know.
You don't want to fall down.
Again, if you're gonna speak, please, just because it's all recorded, we need you on this, on the microphone, please. Thank you. I'm sorry.
That's all
I
right.
didn't mean to interrupt you again.
So like I said, I know you've waited all night here. It's been almost an hour and I appreciate your time. But that's the constraint I feel because we can't approve what we don't have. And what hasn't been posted.
It wasn't posted in the legal ad.
So the legal ad reads, request of Daniel Damp for the property at 1097 Worthington Ridge for reapproval of an expired COA demolition permit for attached garage and rear stairs.
So we can't approve demolition
You-
and wait. to approve.
Yes.
If that's what you'd like to do, but
I think it's the only thing I can do, so that's
But
fine.
no, but my question to you would be, would you, I don't know how you're, because I don't know exactly what your plans are. I mean, for myself, I know, you know, would you want to expose your, you know, depending on how your work is gonna go, I don't know how long the demo is gonna be, but would you want to expose the rest of your property if you don't have the approval for the addition? You know what I'm saying? Like, you tear it down, you have a big gaping hole, I don't, you know.
It's dangerous and it was not original to the house at all.
Right,
either.
but that's not my question. My question is, so you tear down that thing, what is there to protect the rest of your house from elements? I mean, or is there a, is there
The
protection?
original house did not have that small addition, did not have the garage, did not have the sun porch on it. So the original house is just what would be there after the demo.
Okay,
May I?
yes.
My recollection is that the addition you were considering last time you came in was not in this same area. Is the addition
No, it
in the
would be,
same
yeah, it
area?
would be the
Oh, it
same,
would be
yeah.
the same area.
Maybe-
Okay.
Maybe 2 feet further.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Absolutely.
I
Andrew.
think what I'm understanding from Danielle is that she would be okay with just getting the approval to do the demo right now. And then we'll come back in January, hopefully get on onto our schedule then, and we can discuss the addition that she wants to put on at that point. I think the demo is what she's trying to get
Right.
done tonight. So if we can just approve that, if she's okay with that.
But I'm just saying, just from if you take down doors and stuff like that, if it's winter, you're gonna put up some temporary thing, you're gonna be fine with that,
Yes, again, it was not original to the house, so the house is fine without that.
Okay. The plans that you will submit for the January meeting, are they like drawings from an architect or are they just hand drawing?
It's from a builder, and
Perfect.
would you want, you don't need the inside, right? You just need the outside
Material.
The more
Right, and the material.
details you can give us, the better.
Okay, so,
Anything you have, we'd like to see. A little picky of detail.
yeah, I've done that before too, but do you need the inside? schema?
Not really.
Probably a
It doesn't-
floor plan, a little sketch.
Okay,
But it's the exterior and the plot plan is the most important part to me, I would think. Where it's gonna lay on the property.
We need a site plan,
A site plan, thank you,
the
Amy.
footprint in the site plan.
So the application checklist, if I may, Chairman, the application checklist details the things that need to be submitted, which includes the site plan. If you're not gonna meet the zoning, we start there as well, but they need to see its orientation and how it, what will be visible from the road and what won't be, or the public ways, the materials, the details of trim, molding, types of windows, all those things, and they're all detailed on the list. And they do get submitted in advance of the meeting. Makes the meeting run more smoothly because then the commission has them and can evaluate them in advance. They get distributed to the commission before the meeting, and that's where our deadlines come from, as well as the legal ad, to make sure it all works together and matches each other. Okay?
All right,
And we can walk you through it. If you need more information, contact the office.
So then, at this time, we can close the public part of the hearing if I have a motion and discuss the extension of the previous COA for demo. Does that sound correct? Lorraine, Herb?
This is Amy. I'm still not quite sure if I'm seated tonight, but I would move to close the public hearing.
Okay, and do I have a second?
A second.
Andrew second? Okay, so I see no problem.
It should be on your screen. The area, that's the area being demoed, correct? Yeah. So it's on your screen, what's being demoed.
So the area to be demoed was previously approved. And I personally don't see a problem with extending the COA to now. Does anybody else? Do I have a motion to approve the COA for demo?
I motion to approve the COA for demo.
Okay. All in second from Herb, all in favor, Carol?
Andrew Miller,
Yeah.
Amy Pressure,
Yes,
Sue Skeen,
Yes.
Lorraine Stubb,
Yes.
Herb Watson,
Yes.
So
unanimous.
So the motion to extend the COA that was previously approved for the demo is fine. You'll get something in the mail and you can go to get your thing from the building department, right? Do they have to get a permit? Yes,
A demo permit,
Demo
yes.
permit.
how long would it take to get the certificate?
Only takes a day or so. You could actually come in and pick it up, right? Or do
Oh, it'll be a couple of days at
Oh.
least.
I can email you a copy of it if you'd like.
Okay, sure, that would be great.
I'll just take your email.
Want to come over there?
Okay. All right. So back to the thing, review and action of the minutes from the September 13th meeting.
So these were not posted on the agenda, so we needed a motion to add the minutes to the agenda,
Oh, yes.
please.
So do I have a motion to add the approval of the minutes
Oh, Susan, it's Lorraine.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
the September approval was on the agenda, but not the October.
So do I have a motion to approve if we, the vote of, did we approve
sorry.
the September?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that.
So do I
Carol
have a
did it.
motion to
No.
approve both the September and the October? So to open
You
it up and add the October?
Add the October, but you should have separate motions for each set of
Okay, so
minutes.
do I have a motion to add the approval of the October minutes to the meeting?
Susan, it's Lorraine. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, on the September minutes, on the second
Oh, no, wait,
page.
Lorraine, we're adding the October minutes, right?
Either order, but yeah.
So let's
Are you doing
just make a
October?
motion to, yeah.
What are we
Okay,
doing,
never mind.
October or September?
All right, we'll just concentrate on September first. Okay.
Okay.
So, yes, so on the September minutes, you were saying,
There's just one word missing, I guess. It says Maureen explained to Mr. Nero that she would a restoration and grading plan. There's some word, a verb missing there on
Need,
page 2.
I'm gonna put need off the top of my
Would
head.
need, okay. Okay, that was the only thing.
who was at the meeting with Thursday?
And this was a meeting that only Susan, myself, and Herb were at.
Okay. So, between the three of us, do I have a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
I'll move to approve the minutes as amended.
In a second? Herb seconds, all in favor? Aye.
I,
So carried. And then, now as to the October minutes, do I have a motion to add the approval of the October minutes to the meeting tonight?
I'll move to add them to the agenda.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So did anybody see any thing that needed to be addressed in the October minutes? Wayne, you had made, didn't you make a thing before on that or? Was that addition to the October thing, that was the, where you mentioned that the letters from the insurance company, right? Anyway, all right, so do I have a motion to approve the October minutes?
I'll move to approve the October minutes.
Do I have a second?
So, if I may interrupt for 1 second,
Sure.
yeah, there was that correction in the first paragraph that for September 2021, as opposed to September 2020,
Okay,
in quoting the insurance company information that he provided.
right.
I think there may have.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. Thank you.
Mhm. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're not. It's fine. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the minutes? We said yes, and all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So carried. All right. Moving on, is there any other business or communication things that need to be addressed?
The adoption of the 2022 calendar. So that should have been distributed to everyone as well. You know. Thought I had it. Bring it up earlier, but I can't find it now, so I'm rebringing it. I can share with them. Everyone should be seeing the calendar now on their screens. I believe they are all the first of the month. It's the first Monday of the month, except for July, which would be moved to the 11th, and the September meeting, which would be moved to the 12th, which are the second Mondays of each month. And then we did have a meeting scheduled for each month.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the schedule of meetings for the year 2022?
I'll move to approve the meeting schedule for 2022.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
First, second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, is there any other business for the commission's friends?
I've got something I want to mention. I hate to add to a already long meeting, but a couple meetings ago, we were talking about the old town hall. And it was a question about a driveway and a parking area in the back. This weekend, I took a walk down there, and there is a driveway, and there is a parking area in the back, but you'd never know it. It's very difficult to even walk through there. It's just full of Japanese knotweed. It's just completely overgrown. Japanese knotweed is what a lot of people call bamboo. And I had a closer look at the building. And that building is in horrible shape. It must have 20 broken windows in it. And we have a notably historic building in the middle of the district that's falling apart. If there's a blight list in town, this building should be on it. And we need to consider how we can save this building, because in 10 years down the road, it's going to be like that barn that we talked about all summer. It is falling apart.
Is that all in the back, or all the broken windows in the
You
back?
know, both sides, especially the
On
north side,
Okay.
on the side. They should be plywooded over. You know, building on the ridge with plywood windows.
For plexiglass?
It needs a lot more than windows, too.
Yeah.
It's being completely neglected. You can't see the roof, but I can't imagine it's in very good shape inside. It should be on, if the town has a blight list, it should be on it.
We'll check to see if it's on our list to consider.
If you need a
So-
complaint, I'll sign it.
Okay, we'll note it as at the commission meeting and add it. I don't recall that coming up on a list that has, because the list gets circulated through the departments.
Well,
I don't recall that one on the list.
How does the property get on the list? There isn't somebody that surveys every property in town.
It's a joint effort of multiple departments to identify properties that have been either reported or noticed, including the police department, the fire marshal, the building inspectors, the zoning officer, the town manager's office, and the rest of town hall's invited to make, and then they get inspected. You know, one person is assigned by the town manager or a small team to go and evaluate if it hits the check marks of the items that are make it qualified for blight. And then blight goes to the town council to be adopted onto the blight list.
You know, they had
Every
come
several
before
years.
the family to have a stairway torn down and replaced on their
Mhm.
property because it was considered unsafe. But I drive by there and that stairway has never been replaced, and it doesn't look like, you know, I mean, to me, that's the house to the, like, if you're standing in front of the town hall, the house to the left. It doesn't look as if they've made it, those stairs impassable, you know, I don't know. I know that,
They hadn't been using them at the time they came in to replace them. If I remember correctly, they weren't using them,
Right, but-
so they weren't a building code issue because they could
but
be
there was an
blocked.
apartment at the top that was,
Yeah.
at one point, there's an interior set of stairs but that was being used by one of the family members.
Write that down as something. we have
I think
to
it's
follow up with.
973.
I think so. We're close, very close.
Yeah.
I know exactly which houses we're talking about, so
Right.
I can pull those files easily. I know which houses they are. They're the Personowski's houses, right? That's how you say their name.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate because it gets so expensive on these large homes if you don't have, the wherewithal. But like Herb is right, because it's not gonna get better. Is there anything else anybody needs to address?
I just wanted to see, we did discuss this already last spring. And so Lorraine, weren't there some measures that were taken? Or you had a discussion with the homeowners, Lorraine? Is that?
Wait a minute, I'm just trying. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, so I talked to Mrs. Prusanowski and, she told me, I think they're just overwhelmed and her husband isn't well. They would like to sell the property, but they do not want it torn down. Believe it or not, they do value the history of it, but it's just beyond them to maintain it. And she said, as far as the windows, this is just what she told me, that she said they've replaced windows in the attic and then people throw rocks and break them again. So I don't know, I talked to Maureen about having, you can appeal the zoning to change it to something else, and if that's the only way of preserving the building. And I gave her all the information about it. But I think, again, there are people that got overwhelmed and then they just don't do anything. But this is such an important building to the town because it was built by the Brandegie family as a community center. It had a theater in it. It became town hall. It's got a long history and it's so unique architecturally. It's something like we have to put pressure on or help them find a way so it doesn't deteriorate.
Lorraine, are there, I mean, I know with things happening the way they have the last couple of years, are there any grants or anything available? Do you know of anything from the state? Or is money just so tight for other things that there's nothing available? I mean, to help them at least.
Well, there's stuff for maintenance, through, I think it's Connecticut Trust for Historic Preservation manages this grant that's just for maintenance.
Mhm.
And the state has another grant that's just for maintenance. But I think they're limited to something like $25,000. So, I mean, that's an option because it's in the historic district and the historic district is on the National Register. That's a plus for them. But I don't think you're going to get them applying for it. They just seem too overwhelmed.
So I just want to also mention that we are working on the plan of conservation and development. And Lorraine's pretty aware of the process that we've been going through, but we have a consultant that's working with the planning and zoning, the committee, which is a portion of the planning and zoning commission that's working on the plan of conservation and development. And one of the sections in the plan of conservation and development is historic resources. And we try to identify those resources the town has. And then within this process, hopefully, if there are recommendations for changes to the rules, to maybe the zoning, to allow for something else, those will come out as part of this process that we're working on right now. We expect to have a historic meeting in the next couple of months where we'll be asking some stakeholders, including commission members, historic district commission members, to join that public participation meeting and so that we can identify where issues are and how the town can facilitate us not having demo by neglect. Really, that's one of the big things, is demo by neglect, right? And what is it about the certain resources in some of these big houses along the ridge are one of the issues. Is there something that can change about the way we regulate them in order to make them be maintainable by property owners?
Yeah, because you guys, I know Herb, you and Lorraine have started inquiring about the demo by neglect, but I think things kind of slowed down. You were making some inquiries because didn't Weathersfield have a,
That would be the demolition delay ordinance that we'd started right before COVID started, I think was when that started, and then meeting has become less of a thing.
so what do we do from here? You're gonna look into that and advise us?
I think that's what we're going to be learning as we get into the historic preservation section and the historic resources section, is what the options are for the town to consider and make recommendations to the Planning and Zoning Commission, if that's where the recommendations need to go to, or if it's in a different manner. But also on that house in particular, we'll point out to the building inspector that there may be safety issues, although I suspect the windows are above someone entering at the level where the windows are broken, and therefore ordering them shut when it's not a multifamily
But
is
isn't it-
difficult for him.
Isn't it possible to just, maybe they can just mitigate it by putting up, glass?
And we can certainly reach out and ask.
All right, is there anything else anybody on the commission would like to mention today?
Susan, it's Lorraine again. Just another update on the never-ending story about the Episcopal Road barn. So Steve Belitz called me again with another update. Last week, he was showing the property to yet another potential buyer. He's paid Mr. Orsini some more money to give him more time on this. But I'm beginning to understand like how difficult it is to sell these properties, especially from afar. It can take a very long time to find the right buyer. So that continues.
Well, if there is nothing else, I want to thank everybody for coming out this evening, and I wish everybody a happy holiday season and a joyous new year. And if I could entertain a motion to adjourn for this evening.
Motion that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I second, Amy.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Carol, I want to say this was lovely. It was nice to get a really